Hello my friends, today I will be making a very special video in which I explain the process of making a virtual reality mod for a mono Unity game. So this will be more of a big amount of ramblings than a proper tutorial, but it's something, and it will help you make your own VR mods, because I was trying to do this for Pathfinder Kingmaker recently, and while I did get a lot of excellent help and tips from the flat screen to VR modding Discord, I did run into a couple of issues that I would have loved to find a tutorial about. So again, to accentuate, this method will only work for mono Unity games. If you don't know what a mono Unity game is, ask around or check for it. But it should work for pretty much every mono Unity game. Alright, so to start out, I've got my Pathfinder Kingmaker folder open, and I'm going to launch it just to prove that it does not start in VR mode. Alright, that's enough of it. I think you guys believe me now. Yep, let's stop it. Alright, the only thing I did do to the game at the moment is install BepinEx. So I won't go over how to the basics of BepinEx in this tutorial, because it's pretty easy to do yourself. But I will put a link in the description to the BepinEx tutorials and everything, where it's explained how to install it and how to write a basic plugin for it. Alright, so after installing BepinEx to your mono Unity game, it's time to make a basic BepinEx project. Now, normally I would just tell you to find out on your own how to make a BepinEx project, because there's excellent tutorials for it on the website. But there's one small caveat I ran into when making my project, so I'm going to show you what that is. Alright, so I've looked up the Unity version and .NET TFM beforehand, so you can see my Unity version for this game is 2018.4.10, and I've checked around in the files, and normally BepinEx recommends me to set a TFM of net46. But when doing that, I ran into compiling issues, so what I am going to do is make a new project. So with the usual BepinEx stuff, .NET new BepinEx 5 plugin. This will be, we're going to reuse the code from some very nice VR modders, which requires this to be a BepinEx 5 plugin, I believe. Let's just put in a name. Let's call it VRMaker. And instead of targeting .NET 46, I'm going to target .NET 46.1 or 4.6.1. And this is very important, because otherwise it won't be compatible with Net Standard 2.0. If you don't know what that is, just follow the instructions, just follow along, it doesn't matter that much. Alright, so let's see, we've got the right name for it, VRMaker. right.NET version, right Unity version. Let's make the project. And let's do the second step of making the project. There we go. So now we have a VRMaker folder, or however you decided to name your project. And let's open it using Visual Studio 2017. You can also open it using newer versions, but what worked for me all the time is version 2017. Alright, so now we have a very basic BepinEx plugin that will just tell the game that your plugin is loaded. Well, that won't do much, will it? So it's important. Let's see. Well, this won't force the game into VR. It's a bit of a technical explanation, but to enable VR, native VR in Unity games, you need to patch the global game manager's file. And we can do that right in our mod. In fact, there's been code written for us to do this already. You can even use Raicuperta's magnificent Unity VR patcher, which is just drag the game's exe to the patcher exe and it will force the game into SteamVR for you. However, this is not a proper entry point for, well, this is not a proper mod by itself. It will just force the game into SteamVR, and if you don't have a mod yourself, you won't be able to do anything extra. So, by the way, there's a lot of other similar programs that force VR mode on in Unity. You can ask around in the Flat Screen to VR modding Discord about that. I'm sure Raicuperta knows a lot about it. Anyway, what we want to do is integrate the VR patcher into our mods, like Raicuperta has done for 2Forks VR. He has a 2Forks VR patcher, which will do it automatically when launching the mod, which is what we want and what I will show you today. So it's just a small file, you can see it here. I'm just going to copy and paste this. I'm sure he won't mind. And this should work for every Mono Unity game, I believe. But we can't just copy and paste this file or project, because otherwise dependencies will get messed up. So what we are going to do is go to our solution and add a new project. This will make sure, and when we do, we will go to installed Visual C.NET Standard, and we are going to select a class library of the .NET Standard. And this will make sure that it has the proper dependencies, because believe me, I tried doing this in other ways and it just did not want to compile. Alright, so we're going to select our VRMaker folder. And we're going to name this, let's see, how did I name this before? We're going to name this project VR Patcher. Alright, now that we've got the VR Patcher project, as you can see with at the dependencies, we've got the .NET Standard library, which includes netstandard.dll. This is very important, otherwise it won't work. Well, I believe. I might be wrong on some accounts. This is also my first time modding Unity, but you know, it works for me, and that's what matters. So you've got class 1, let's rename it to something better, like VR Enabler. So rename VR enabler.cs. Sure, let's rename everything. Oh well, that's no matters. And now we are going to just copy paste Raicuperta's code for this. As with the other things, the GitHub repository will be in the description. But as you can see, after copying this, we have some issues with the asset tools reference. So we need to add that reference ourselves. And if I remember correctly, I installed that via NuGet. If you don't know what NuGet is, just follow the steps in this guide. So we're just going to go to dependencies, click on manage NuGet packages. And we are going to just browse everything with the nuget.org package source. And I think, what was it called again? It was called assettools.net. So let's type that in. This is the one we want. Port a remake of UABE's asset tools to C#. Now, don't get the latest version. Sometimes people have problems with the latest version. The version that worked for my mod and for Pathfinder Kingmaker is version 2.0.9. Just click OK, install it. And after it's installed, see it's here in NuGet assettools.net, everything's here. And let's check. It says it's not found. Let's try building our solution, see if it disappears. Alright, so the asset tools reference is still not there. Why did this happen again? Let me remember. Might be fine if we just close and restart the project. Just don't remember to save the project to make a solution file. There we go. Yes, I did not rehearse this tutorial at all, which is why it's more of a rambling than anything else. But I did get everything working yesterday, so trying to do this while it's still fresh in my memory. Alright, it's still complaining about asset tools. Well, I'm too far in the video to stop here, so let's just check what we did wrong. Yeah, this is the working project, the one I used to test everything. Let's check if it builds. Probably won't. But the asset tools error has disappeared, which is very strange. I have no idea what's wrong with IntelliSense, but oh well. Anyway, what we have here is some very weird duplicate system dot reflection dot blah blah blah. Anyway, something's duplicated. We can go fix this by going back to TestMaker. Going to open the let's see, the CS project. Need with Sublime Text. or Notepad, or whatever you like to use for a notepad. And what we want to do is copy this specific string here. You'll have to type it yourself or copy it from the internet somewhere, because I found this in a Stack Overflow thing. You want to copy this line, generate assembly info false. You want to place it under property group. So we're going to go back to our VRMaker folder, we're going to go to our VR patcher, to the CS project file, and under .NET Standard 2.0 we're going to just paste this. Right, and now that we did that, I'm going to try building again. And you can see that at least duplicate stuff from VREnabler is gone, but it's still there for VRMaker. So let's do the same for VRMaker. Open with. There we go. Just paste that in there. Now when we try to build, there are no more duplicate issues. I have no idea what's wrong with asset tools right now. There's no get here. I mean, it's right there, it should work, right? It's weird stuff. Let's see, because it's working here. So let's do some live problem solving. Probably going to put a timestamp somewhere so you can skip this if you don't want to watch it. So this is in VREnabler.cs, yes. The license is not giving any issues. We're using the right assembly. Let's just try opening and closing the project again. I'm not seeing. Ah, they are. Oh, damn it. What's it saying? So it's not available for VRMaker, but it is for the VR patcher. Let's check what it's saying in here. Alright, so what we're probably going to have to do is go to VRMaker dependencies, add a reference, and go to projects, and add a reference to the VR patcher project. That might fix it. So if we go to dependencies now, we'll have projects here, and it's very important that VR patcher has a net standard library and everything that it shares. And there we go, it looks like the errors are gone. And things are building. Isn't that nice? So what happened now is that the VR patcher has built, which is very nice because this is probably the most important part of our mod today. So it's built without issues, and we can probably just leave it alone for now. So what we want to do now is actually start SteamVR using our plugin. So the VR patcher is a patcher that runs sometime around when the game launches, but it does not activate VR itself. It just tells the game engine you are actually VR compatible now. So what we're going to do to start VR is again just copy and paste Rise magnificent code, to go to Toolbox VR, to go to source, Toolbox VR mods. We're going to be a bit selective in what we copy paste. We're just going to copy paste this function. There we go, in its SteamVR. We're going to remove the SteamVR actions part. I will tell you why later. And this function should start SteamVR. So if you go back to my working mod, all I do in the awake function is just call init SteamVR. Alright, and of course we have the problem that the SteamVR assembly is missing. We'll get to that in a second. But first, just take the time and effort to set up your plugin graphical user ID, plugin name, and plugin version. I don't know if that's graphical user ID or something else, but anyway, for me, I just do this. To paste that here above awake. So we're going to have a name and everything. Alright, so this won't compile because it's missing the SteamVR assembly. Now, SteamVR assembly we need here is valve.vr. Just going to try and include it. But then it's going to complain that it can't find valve.vr. Now, where is that located? Where is that dependency located? It will be in assemblies, and it will be in the SteamVR assembly. Now this was a big issue for me, because normally you can find this SteamVR.dll. Normally you can find it in your game data, and managed. And for normal games there will be a SteamVR.dll in it. Don't mind this one, I just copy pasted this one myself. I forgot to delete it for the tutorial. So for a normal game there will be a SteamVR.dll here, but yeah, not for Pathfinder Kingmaker. Now it is important that this SteamVR.dll is of the version of Unity that is the same as your game's version of Unity, which means you can't just copy and paste every SteamVR.dll you find on the internet. We will have to generate our own. And the way you generate your own is by making an empty Unity project on the same engine version as your game. Remember, mine is 2018.4.10. And well, we're just going to launch Unity. Where are the Unity? Yeah, to the Unity hub. So the general gist of what we are going to do now is find a way to generate this missing SteamVR.dll. And we are going to make an empty Unity project. I already made mine here. I called it Kingmaker DLLs. Let's open it. And this will be a standard empty Unity project, but we will want to add the SteamVR plugin to it ourselves. And this is not the SteamVR Dll, this is a plugin for Unity, which you will be able to find on something else I will link in the description, which is a Valve Software SteamVR Unity plugin GitHub repository. Now again, something I found out is you can just install the latest SteamVR Unity plugin. For my version of the game and Unity and everything, I had to install an older version. So how I tried to find the most compatible version is I went to the Unity download archive, I searched for my Unity version, and I looked at the date. So this is 1 October 2019. So I went to the SteamVR releases and I went to search for the closest date to 1 October 2019. So this is 2021, way too late. 2020, 7 November, 8 October, and I believe this is the one I went with, because it's a little bit later than this Unity version, but it's the closest in date to it. As you can see, this one is from January. So now that we found it, we are going to go to Assets and just download the .unity package. I already did that. I've got it sitting right here. And all you've got to do to install it is, when your project is open, yeah, that's good, just accept all. Yes, I did make the right choice, thank you. All you have to do is just double click the SteamVR.unity package while the editor is open, and it will auto install it for you. I don't mind that, it just tried to launch VR at the moment. And after that, when you've installed the plugin, you will just need to go to build settings, going to compile this for Windows, x86, 64, 64-bit. And you're just going to have to build it. And make sure to add open scenes to it. Don't know if that's necessary, but I did it anyway, and I think it's important. I'm going to click build. I won't do that again here. And when you did that, you will have in your projects folder, Kingmaker DLLs, you will have to choose a folder to build in. I chose the build folder. And alright, so the game launched, the game compiled or built, but we're not interested in the exe at all, we're interested in the SteamVR.dll, remember. So we're going to go to here, managed, and there it is, SteamVR.dll. So what we're going to go do now is go to our VRMaker folder, and we're just going to add a specific folder called libs for libraries, where we will place our important DLLs. I'll go away Unity. So now that we found our SteamVR.dll, we can go link it in the dependencies. So go to assemblies and go to assemblies for VRMaker, not for VRPatcher. And whoops, dependencies and add reference. Then we're going to browse again, and we're going to go to our VRMaker, going to libs, and add SteamVR.dll. And now that it's added, you can see there's no referencing errors anymore. So now we can just build our solution. It's going to warn a bit about something that does not cause me any issues at least. And now everything is built, so we are ready to try and get our VR mod running. So let's go again to libs. Now we should have in our bin folder a debug.net 461, and we're going to have a lot of these, but we are only interested in a few of these. We are interested in well, VRMaker and VRPatcher, so we're going to copy over these already. Going to go to the game install pad, to the BepinEx install pad, to the plugins folder. In the plugins folder we will want to place our VRMaker.dll, and in the patchers folder we want to place our VRPatcher.dll. Because, you know, it's a patcher and not a plugin, and this is a plugin and not a patcher. Now, if we will try to run the game in VR now, it won't work. And to understand why, we will go to our BepinEx config, BepinEx.cfg, and we are going to enable the console. So just going up, enable showing a console. For log output, we're going to set this to true. I already did this. You can also do Unity log listening equal true. I like doing this, you don't have to, but you might want to. So let's try starting the game. As you can see, there's some red text. As you can see, the game also does not launch in VR. So what it says is failed to load patcher, because it could not load the file or assembly net standard version 2.00. Because yeah, this is the reason we need, well, this is not the reason we need our net standard, but oh well. To be entirely honest, I don't even. Well, yeah, we probably need a net standard, and we are going to need a DLL anyway, because our project is based on it. So let's go and quit the game. This is the GOG version of the game, by the way, the good old games version, not the Steam version. So, which shows that you do not need the Steam version of a game to be compatible with SteamVR. Alright, so it was complaining about missing a certain DLL, which was net standard 2.0, which was another pitfall for me. So we're going to go to VRMaker, going to go to bin debug, and there will be a net standard.dll in here. Let's see if it's the right version. Going to go to properties, details. So this is 4.6.1, I guess. So we're not going to want this one, I think. We're going to go to VRPatcher, going to the bin there, debug, that's standard 2. Alright, never mind, we will need this one. Never mind what I just said. And we're going to go copy over net standard.dll and also the assets.dll, because it is dependent on that file. Alright, back to the game, BepinEx, go to the patchers folder and copy over these two assets. Alright, let's try launching it again, see what happens. And again, still no VR. Why is it this time? Because it could not find classdata.tpk, which is you know, a file from some very elite Unity reverse engineering, UABE, whatever. Anyway, it's a file we need to get things working. Now you can get this file from UABE. If you just install it, you can get it. You can find it in there, I think. If I go to VR software, UABE should be somewhere here, I think. No. I'm going to go to software maybe. UABE, where are you? Ah yes, it's called the Assets Bundle Extractor. And there should be somewhere in here a classdata.tpk, yes. This one is the latest one, but to make sure everything was compatible with my version, I just used the one from our good friend Raicuperta, who has one in 2.4 mod files, copy to game. Yeah, he has one somewhere. Let's check for it. Maybe in the VR patcher. Yes, he has one right here in the classdata.tpk. So let's see, we're going to go again. So I've got this project downloaded, 2.4, got .zip. We have this classdata.tpk here. And let's just throw it in our libs folder, why not? This is probably bad coding practice, but who cares? We're trying to do something very difficult here. Alright, so this classdata.tpk will also have to be in our game BepinEx patches folder. So once this is done, the patcher should be able to enable VR for the game engine. It won't be able to start VR yet. But, oh, there we go, the game is not starting in VR again. But as you can see, it is loading our patcher method, VR patcher, and it is patching it. It has the installer pad, the gamepad, it's backing it up, it's saying that the backup already exists, alright. And it tells us it's installed successfully, probably. Now, why is our game not in VR yet? It is because our VRMaker plugin could not find some specific files. It could not find the SteamVR.dll. Which means we will have to copy that over as well. Again, I'm showing this in individual steps because I had to troubleshoot every single individual step for a few frustrating days. Let's exit again. Alright, so we just need our SteamVR.dll. Let's go to our project folder, VRMaker, go to libs, SteamVR.dll, copy it over, and this time we are going to place it in Kingmaker data managed. If your game already has this one, you won't need to copy this over again because it's already in there. And let's see what happens now. I'm going to do it like this. And once again, it's not giving any errors, but yes, it is giving us a warning that SteamVR initialization is failed. And I think somewhere after this it would tell us that it's missing a certain Openvr.dll, but for some reason it's not telling us that at the moment. By the way, if anyone is wondering why I am making a VR mod for Pathfinder Kingmaker and not Wrath of the Righteous, it is because Pathfinder Kingmaker has an enhanced edition already with controller support, while Wrath of the Righteous will get that in about a month from this video. I'm definitely planning to make a mod of that one day, probably right after making the Kingmaker mod. Alright, so let's go again to Raicuperta's 2 forks mod, and for the VR patchers, no, for 2 forks VR, it will have the mod files, copy to game, Firewatch data and plugins. So we don't really care about LEV bridge, just going to want, you might want to include that later if you want to add LEV support, which is very cool and something some of our modders have been doing. But the one we want is Openvr Api. So we're going to go back to our game, Kingmaker data, plugins, and we're going to add Openvr Api.dll. And I believe this is the very last thing we needed to get the game working. So now I've plugged in my Xbox controller to the PC, because otherwise I will not be able to open a menu and everything. Alright, so controller is plugged in, headset is on, I'm going to put it on right now. Yep. And the big moment of truth has arrived. Will this game launch in VR? Maybe, maybe not, but shouldn't be too far off if it won't launch. So let's try. Let's launch the game. Oh, something is happening, and there we go. SteamVR has launched. So this is not in VR yet, because this is some intro video type of stuff. Won't need my VR controllers now, only my game controller, my Xbox controller. Let's press A to continue. And I believe, yes, you can see we are in VR at the moment. Now this, you won't get a main screen like this for every game. I believe this screen is already floating in space in the main game. So for other games you might see this as some kind of flat non-VR thing, but it should show up in your headset. So I'm going to load the game. I'm going to load one of my saves from a while ago. And look at that, we got stuff working in VR. Now to be clear, this is the exact same result you would get if you just use your Raicuperta's Universal Unity patcher. But in doing this this way, we now have our whole project set up, our whole project set up to expand upon the mod and add things, because as you can probably see, this is not a proper VR mod yet. It's probably playable, but a lot of the user interface is broken. Oh no, don't tell me I accidentally talked to the guy. Oh, right, I had a good option by mistake to leave conversation, because this is not a very playable VR mod at the moment. But just for fun, let's go to Steam and open FPS VR. Well, never mind that. It won't open for me at the moment. Let's take a tour of our capital. To the capital square. We need to go to the main square. You probably can't see this in the video, but I am having some weird issues where my right eye has some kind of like white filter over it, while my left eye is seeing everything as it should. And something also notice is that there's a lot of optimization that needs to be done still. Not in these methods. This method is perfectly fine, but as you can see, I'm enjoying a nice silky smooth 15 FPS or something, which is just because forcing on VR in a game does not instantly make it a good VR mod. You will need to mess with the user interface, find some optimizations and everything. And thankfully I can almost say that those things are the easy part of making a mod, because we just did the worst part of it. There's also some weird sound of SteamVR constantly activating, no idea what that is, but... Oh well, as you can see, we just got a game working in VR. Let's quit it. See, this is not how the base game works at all. Let's exit. Alright, so that was... Ah, damn it, so that's what happened. Ah, Steam, what the hell. No, I don't want big picture mode. I don't want to no idea why this happened, but this does not happen normally with your VR mod, so don't worry about it. I probably just pressed the wrong button or something somewhere. Anyway, the video will be coming to an end soon, so let's see if I missed anything. I've talked about Raicuperta stuff, I've talked about BepinEx, I've talked about the Unity VR patcher, I've talked about the console, about all the issues we had, I've got everything working, dependencies are alright, got the name of the plugin. Alright, don't forget to save your project. And let's see. Alright, yes. By the way, if you want your game to launch in normal mode again, in non-VR mode, just delete your plugin, delete your patcher, and go to your game data, and delete your global game managers, and rename your global game managers .back to global game managers. So like this. I'm going to rename it to back because I like VR, I want to keep developing this mod. Alright, so that should be everything. Thank you so much for listening to my ramblings. I really hope that this video was able to help you in some way, because I sure wish I had access to something like this when I was making the fundamentals of this mod. But that's going to be everything for today. Bye bye.